Chilangwa Chaiwa is the Vice President ICOMOS Africa. Chilangwa, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
But then-
Asante-san.
How has your stay in Kenya been?
It has been great.
Yeah.
Making arrangements to stay on.
Yes.
Yes.
I've already found myself a husband.
Nice.
Yes.
So please say the husband.
No, for his own protection, maybe
Yes.
let me not mention the name.
Please
sure.
do not mention the name. Just saying Chilangwa has loved the ambience, you know, our surrounding, the weather.
Yeah.
Yes. And then somebody made a proposition.
Yes.
Dear listener, I think you know who has made the proposition.
Yeah. Between the.
We're deciding to sell, we're selling you.
Yeah, you are not selling me. I'm selling myself.
You're selling yourself.
I am actually really. I will go.
You will go.
Mm.
So you're going to leave us.
She's not coming.
Hmm?
You're the one
I'm
leaving.
staying.
Yeah, I will go.
Okay,
Meaning-
I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kwani ni nini hapo you've not understood?
Tell him you cannot go. She's the one who's coming.
No,
I'm
he
going
he wants to
inside
go.
her heart.
Ah.
I'm occupying.
You are occupying her heart.
Yes.
Did you notice his accent just changed? All of a sudden, he's a Ugandan.
I can tell you.
You sounded like a Ugandan for a minute.
Oh, you will see at the end of this show.
Anyway, Chilangwa is here because there has been a conference going on at Swahili Port Hub Foundation, and it's on Africa 24, and we're looking at preserving world heritage. But just for, how is ICOMOS part of this?
Okay, so ICOMOS is a non-governmental organization which looks at the conservation of cultural heritage.
Yeah.
Not just world heritage, but cultural heritage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we thought of coming up with a conference looking mainly at the conservation of built heritage, traditional built heritage. And we thought which would be the best place to have it rather than Africa, which is very rich when it comes to traditional heritage. So that's why we're here.
When you say conserving world heritage, yesterday there was a dance, and Zauli dance. Yes, I was privileged to watch that. And when he played it, there was a lot of he said this is usually performed during funerals, to ward off, pretty much to exercise. And every culture has that. But then also we're getting to a space where a lot is changing and we're adapting to the new age. How do we maintain parts of us?
Partly, I think we need to have an appreciation, not just the young, because we keep talking about the young appreciating where we're coming from, our culture. But for me, I found that even some of the older people do not really have that appreciation. Yeah. You find them also being more attracted to Western life and departing from their own culture and identity. So the problem is not just with the youth. So, but one ways in which we can maintain our culture and identity is for us to be able to transfer the knowledge from the senior persons. Yesterday we kept saying the wise at our conference to the younger generation. But we need to find a way of making people more attracted to our own culture, our own identity, because at the moment it's not so attractive. People are attracted to what is going on elsewhere. They don't realize that those out there actually even envy what is going on and the culture that we have and the identity we have.
Yeah.
Mm.
You're actually right, because then when we see tourists visiting Kenya and they don themselves in Maasai shawls, and the bracelets, they try to immerse themselves in our culture, but then us as the community, the citizens, the local, we don't see the value. So how do we get to a situation where now we're actually educating the youth now, to start seeing the value, the need to preserve what has been there?
I may not be able to answer it
Yes.
fully.
In your version.
It's something which we need to really explore.
Yeah.
I would talk of awareness, but I think it's more than just awareness. So it's something we really need to look at and see how can we get not just the youth, but everyone to be more attracted to our own culture, our own identity.
In Zambia, Chilangwa, you're from Zambia.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you remember? What are some of the cultural practices that you remember?
To be honest,
Yeah.
there's still a lot I need to learn about my own culture and my own identity,
Yeah.
because most people don't really appreciate it. I've come to appreciate it more with traveling around from outside Zambia, because when you go out there, that's when people ask, maybe from the dress I'm wearing
Yes.
has a certain pattern, and someone will ask me, oh, that's a lovely dress. What material is it? What does that design mean?
Yeah.
And you find that I'm completely blank.
Yeah, okay.
And when I go back home, because that's when now I started gaining more interest
Yeah.
and asking questions back home. And then you find that the patterns on my dress actually have a meaning, which I never knew about. For me, it's just a dress with a nice pattern.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us about it? It's a beautiful dress. We are audiovisual, so yes, do stream www.swahilipotsfm.co.ke so that you may be able to see the kind of dress, Chilangwa's outfit. So do tell us, what's the meaning?
I still don't know.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Actually, she's planning to go and ask.
I still don't know. I need to find someone to tell me, to educate me.
This is not kitenge.
It is kitenge.
Oh, so
Back home
In
we
Kenya,
call it
yeah.
chitenge.
Chitenge.
Yes, you call it kitenge, we call it chitenge.
No, we have a community around who also call it chitenge. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, the digos.
Chitenge.
Chitenge
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's digo
and choin.
and choin.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a colleague back home who's actually been doing some research on the meanings behind certain things, symbols, even things like you'd find that the architecture of a certain region, you find it on some baskets,
That's true.
which we didn't know. For us, it's just some
A
picture
decoration.
on a basket. And we've always said that in Africa, we do not document, because the knowledge has been passed on from generation to generation orally.
Yeah.
But we didn't realize that our documentation has been different from the way those in the West have done it. So I think we need to probably do more research as well. And we need to do it sooner rather than later, because the ones who contain that knowledge will pass on soon.
Yes.
And we also need to find the correct way of getting the information from them, because sometimes when you go out into these villages with recorders and notepads and what, sometimes I don't know if it's distrust or what, people will not open up to you. They will not tell you what they know. So we need to find the best approach to engage them and talk to them and get the knowledge that they have.
I think it speaks of during the conference. I think it was day one. that somebody shared a story about a community that had something was happening in that community, and it was brilliant. Then a team of people showed up, and everybody disappeared and went into their homes. And more like they did not know that these people are coming, first of all, but then also it's more like this is something that we want to preserve and keep it to ourselves. We don't really want to expose it to everybody. When you say there are certain things that are religious, and we want to keep it, but then how do I get you to speak to me or to share that information? It really does matter. And in as much as we have pens and recorders and notebooks, how do I get you to share about your culture with me without putting a camera on your face? Storytelling goes back to storytelling again.
Yes.
Yeah. So you are right that this information needs to trickle down, but how? How do we get them comfortable to share?
Yeah.
Or maybe do you have a plan of having kind of some institutions, just small institutions, that will be having them in the communities where probably the old, or rather the wise, will be sharing maybe to the young people, so that we can have that information?
We do not yet have a concrete laid out plan. We're still trying to explore, trying to look at the best way to go about it.
Okay, Chilangwa. I want you to feel comfortable. Don't swing. Yeah, don't swing. My cameras are not seeing you.
Okay.
So, my question is, it's Africa 24. Which country that has the most heritage that is well documented from the countries that you know? It's Zambia, South Africa, Kenya, Ivory Coast.
I can't point to one particular country as being the country with the most or best documented. I
Okay.
think most of the countries have inventories. We call them inventories, which would be like a list of the sites
Okay.
and details of those sites.
Okay.
And state parties to the World Heritage Convention, I believe all have those inventories.
Okay.
Yes, maybe some may be outdated and may need updating, but they are there.
All right. Now we are talking about the old guard, the elderly people who are also now turning their back on the heritage that we have, and you are saying that you have to use those to pass that information to the youth. How well are you prepared to get that information from people who are now they are getting away from the heritage that we have here in Africa?
Okay, it's not when I mentioned that there are some who are getting away, the old guard getting away from appreciation of our own identity and heritage. It's not all of them.
All right.
Thankfully, it's not all of them. Yeah, so we need to target those who still appreciate where we are coming from, to get the knowledge from them.
All right. Okay.
Well, we are speaking to Chilangwa, and it is Chilangwa Chaiwa. She's the Vice President, ICOMOS Africa, and this is in relation to the Africa 24 that's going on. Africa 24 conference that's ongoing right now at Swahili Pot Hub Foundation. And in studio is our guest. And today we're talking about Africa 24. Africa 24 is a conference that focuses on the conservation of built heritage in Africa. And of course, this year it's taking place in Mombasa. What does it mean? What would it take, Chilangwa, to determine that this site is supposed to be a World Heritage Site? How do you determine that?
Okay, so there are basically two about three things that we'll look at.
Yes.
Authenticity, integrity, and then we need to do comparative analysis, because when we say this site qualifies and it should be listed, but is it the only site which has those attributes, or there are other sites? Because if there are 100 other sites which have the same attributes, why should we put this particular one for those attributes or for those values? So now when we talk of authenticity, we're basically talking about, okay, you're saying that it has these values. Is it true that it actually has these values? Yes. Integrity, how intact are those values from way back traditionally? I'm trying to put it in layman's or simpler language, because you may be saying that it qualifies for a certain type of construction.
Yeah.
But is it still existing? Can you still see that particular type of construction there? Yeah, so authenticity, integrity, and look at the comparative analysis compared to other sites.
Okay. And so let's say who determines this? I just want to bring us back to Kenya. Who determines this? So now there was Fort Jesus, and then it got listed, right? Who determines? How do I know that this is something worth sharing, or rather going to the team that's responsible? I believe that's the tourism department. Yes. How do I know that?
Okay, so in most countries, or countries, we obviously have an institution which will look at the management of heritage sites. But it's also possible that there may be some sites which are not listed nationally. So anyone from the public is free to go to the heritage institution to tell them about that heritage, and then they can do their own assessment to see if it qualifies, and if they can take it further to prepare what is referred to as a nomination dossier to be submitted to the World Heritage Center. And it's not the World Heritage Center which will decide. From the World Heritage Center, we have what is referred to as the World Heritage Committee. We have state parties to the convention, the World Heritage Convention, who are on that committee. They are the ones who get to decide, acting upon advice from the advisory bodies, which are ICOMOS, IUCN, and ICROM.
Okay.
So in Kenya, do we have Fort Jesus only as the one which is listed currently?
No. We have I think the most recent addition is the Gedi.
Also currently we have the two.
No, we have more than two. It should be. Now my Kenyan colleagues are going to kill me if I don't get the number right.
The reason as to why I was asking that, I thought because now we have at the Fort Jesus probably, and it has a lot of processes. Probably not everyone, every place that is listed in the nation is automatically in the World Heritage List.
No, it's not automatic. So you can have when it comes to heritage, you can I'm trying to find the best words. You can say that something has certain values or qualifies to be considered as heritage at various levels.
Yeah.
You can even start from the family level.
Sure. So that simply means we have...
start from the family level.
Yeah.
You say that bracelet which used to belong to your grandmother is heritage.
Yeah.
But it will not qualify. It may not qualify as a national.
True.
Yes, and then you keep going up It can be at regional level, national level. Something will qualify at national level doesn't necessarily mean that it will qualify at the international level.
All right.
At the international level, it will need to have outstanding universal value.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so it will be like it is rare or unique. It has rare, unique values which stand out internationally. It doesn't mean that those which do not have that outstanding universal value are not beautiful or good enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. But my question now comes: the world is growing very fast on the we call it digital or digitization. Is there ways that as e-commerce, you are working to make sure everything is digitally preserved or digital heritage for all the sites that I identified across Africa?
Okay, so since we have, because ICOMOS, our headquarters is in France,
All right.
but in each country you have where you have members, we encourage the formation of a national committee.
Okay.
So the national committee is the one which will carry out the work of e-commerce in that country.
Mhm.
So each national committee has different approaches on how they carry out their work,
Mhm.
and it also depends on how active they are.
Okay.
Yes. So I know that there are some which, especially with the involvement of the youth,
Mhm.
are getting more and more into digitization and other technological aspects which I do not understand because I'm too old. Yeah, so of course it's something encouraged, but it's more dependent on the country itself,
Okay.
on how they wish to carry about their work.
Okay. So we have been talking about history, and we have history is a subject in our curriculum, and when you go through it, you get to understand, you know, independence and everything, and just a bit about our culture. And you mentioned something earlier on when you said it's not well documented. Who should be responsible for documenting this? Is it the country, or are we waiting for outsiders to come and document our history?
It's definitely ourselves.
Yeah.
I think we have lots where I come from in Zambia, we have lots of history books which are not written by Zambians. So I don't know if we can say they were even able to capture all that should be captured. And of course, even when they write, it's from a different perspective
Yeah.
from the way a Zambian would look at it. So obviously it would encourage we ourselves to be able to write our own history. It's just the same way as we are saying, because for this conference, the main theme, we're looking at the heritage we want.
Yeah.
Yes, because you find that it's defined, most of our heritage is not defined by us. So how would we like it to be defined? That's one of the things we are looking at throughout the conference. And hopefully we'll be able to come up with something by the end of the conference. Yeah, we are actually working on a recommendation which will be presented probably today. Yeah.
Is it a lack of interest?
The lack of documentation?
Yeah, in us documenting our heritage, our culture. Is it a lack of interest? Because you've just said that a lot of books are written by outsiders, right? It is through their eyes. So we're reading about our culture, our history through their eyes, you know. But who can better tell our stories than us? Is it a lack of
Maybe,
interest or funding?
various reasons.
Yeah.
For one, uh, for us, documentation hasn't been through books. We've got other forms of documentation, but which maybe most of us are not even aware of.
Okay.
We're just getting to learn about them. So we've got books written by others, and maybe because of being colonialized,
Yeah.
we found that we adopting the ways of those who colonized us on how to go about certain
Yeah.
things. So we've always thought documentation means books, it means writing, but there are probably other ways. So we can still maintain those, but we can also now maybe embrace even the other types of documentation like the books and have the history or whatever information captured by ourselves in books as well.
What heritage do you want?
African.
Mm-hmm.
African.
Mm-hmm.
Just that African. It should be African.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Chilangwa. We have been speaking to Chilangwa Chaiwa. She is the Vice President, ICOMOS Africa. And so, what will you be talking about today? What's today's theme, and maybe tomorrow?
Today is actually the last day
The last day, okay.
for the sessions. I'm not sure which themes we're looking at today.
Okay.
Yeah. Tomorrow we have a site visit. We are going to the sacred Mijikenda Kaya Forest.
Oh, you're going to the Kayas.
Yes. We're going to plant some trees there.
Yeah.